Citizenship education is a class. We are still on our series of citizenship under national value citizenship. Today we are taking part 7. So for the past 7 classes or 6 classes, we've been talking about citizenship. Please, if you've not watched our videos on citizenship series, go watch them. This is the 7th class. We are going to talk about obligation of a citizen. What is the obligation of a citizen? Then, our second objective is describe the consequences of citizens not performing to their community, to their state, and to their nation. But then, what is obligation? Just like the word obligation, it has to do with the duties you are required to carry out. It has to do with things you are supposed to do. So when you put that obligation into our national value, it implies that obligation in citizenship or in civic education has to do with those things which you are supposed to do, carry out as a member of a nation, a state, a community. What are the work required of you to carry out? So, obligation of a citizen means something that a citizen is required to do by law. Example, paying of taxes, obeying the law of the land, it is obligation. It is a requirement. It can equally mean expectation from citizens in a given society. It also means the legal or moral responsibility of a citizen. The legal or moral responsibility of a citizen, like paying of taxes, obeying the law of the land. These are legal laws that you're supposed to obey. Moral laws are laws that makes you to behave in such a way that shows that you are a mentally stable person, not causing problem, not doing things that will cause problem within your state, your community, or your nation. So the obligation that each individual that belongs to a state or a nation or a community have to do is what is called obligation. What is it that you are required to do? In your community, what is it that your community wants you to do? In your state, what is it that your state wants you to do? In your nation, what is it that the nation requires you to do? What do you need to carry out to be a good citizen of a country? To be a respected citizen of a country? To make the nation, the state, the community run smoothly? That's obligation. So that is the obligation, which is the first objective. Now, describe the consequences of a citizen not performing to the community, to the state, and to the nation. When you don't perform your duties, when you don't carry out the obligation that is required of you as a citizen of a country, a nation, a state, a community, what will happen? What will it cause for the nation? That's the second bullet point. So let's see the consequences. The next point is describe the consequences of citizens not performing to the community, the state, or the nation. 1, they will lack orderliness in the states. Things will go wrong because citizens are not obeying the law of the land as it's required, as is the obligation. Legal obedience is not there. Moral obligation is not there. There will be disorderliness in the state, the country, the nation, the community. Arrest by the government in authority when laws are broken. That will make the government to go on mass arrest because they want to force people to comply with the law. They want to force people to obey the law. So the government will not be at rest. Things will not go well. The third one is state of anarchy, especially when citizens don't vote their leaders. There will be state of anarchy, state of chaos. There will be problem everywhere. mass protests, fights. People will not want to obey because they felt those in power are not their choice. So there will be state of anarchy. The fifth one, lack of development in the state, especially when citizens don't pay their tax. Remember I told you that obligation has to do with what you are expected to do as a citizen of a country. An example of what you are expected to do is payment of tax, obeying the law of the land, and other civil responsibility that you owe the state and the nation as a member belonging to the state. That makes you a citizen. And so when the masses don't agree to pay tax anymore, there is state of anarchy already. Things will go wrong. The nation will not function effectively. The state will not function effectively. The community in question will not function effectively. State of oppression of the citizen by the government when they don't speak. Remember when we talk about our rights, freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Every citizen has the right to air his or her view, freedom to assembly, freedom to public opinion. And so when a citizen is not allowed to air his or her view, you are not allowed to speak, it means that the citizens are oppressed. And once they are oppressed, they are pushed to the wall and then they bounce back. And when they bounce back, they start protesting, start doing things that will frustrate the government of the land. So, these are the consequences when citizens fail to perform their communal duties. And when government fail to comply with citizenship or citizens' rights. So we've seen the state, the obligation of the citizen. We have equally seen what happens when there is non-performance on the part of citizen. It all boils down to a lot of problems. So let's obey the law of the land. Let's carry out our obligation and duties. And let's respect our rights and know the limits of our rights. And then when we know our rights, when it is being trampled on, we'll be able to fight for our rights. Thank you for being part of this class. Until I come your way next time, please watch this video over and over again and go watch the other 6 parts on citizenship education. It is for you to know your citizenship rights as a member belonging to the state Nigeria. If you've not subscribed, subscribe, share our videos, tell others what we do here. Until I come your way next time.